They go to that most simulates that type of high is heroin.
Christy Crandall should know. Today she spends her time educating teens and parents on the dangers of addiction through her book and website. She also helps organize town hall meetings and other events. Before 2004, she was an average suburban stay-at-home mom. That was before her son Ryan made one bad decision that would change their lives forever.
3 weeks past his 18th birthday, he was arrested for armed robbery. And he is currently serving 13 years at Folsom State Prison. So that's how my story started, and I learned my education, or I got my education the hard way. And I'm hoping other parents won't have to. We got a phone call from the Nevada County Sheriff's Department telling us what he had done, and it was devastating to my family, and really hard to believe that the boy that I raised could do such a heinous crime, because that just simply did not fit with what I knew about him and what I knew he knew. He knew what was right and wrong, and it's just kind of a testament to how far somebody will go when they're caught up in the cycle of addiction. In my son's case, he started using other drugs, but when he didn't have enough money for those anymore, he went to what was cheap and accessible, and it happened to be cold medicine. And it's Coricidin, they're little red pills, and kids call them Skittles, and that's what he was doing, skittling.
I really believe that our arrest statistics, which are fairly small, a couple of hundred, actually about one drug arrest a day is all we make in the city of Rockland. But if we really went out there and looked, I think that we would see the prescription drug problem being much greater. As you listen to some of the stories that we have from some of the people that were on the panel, their family members that were involved with OxyContin, they were never ever in contact with police until the big event. So they had years of actual use and problems with prescription drugs before they ever came to our attention. And that's the kind of thing I believe that's going on. We hear about the oxy use and the other prescription drug use that's going on in our high schools. And we know that it's more widespread than we can detect.
The story I'm going to be talking about today is my little brother's story. I lost him to suicide 5 months ago, and he was an OxyContin user. Excuse me, I'm sorry. He also used Xanax. We think he was stealing prescription pads and using prescription pads to forge the things he needed to get his OxyContin. He would do anything, at any time. He didn't care about anybody. I mean, he would steal from my mother, my father, me. He would rob my car. He would break into anything he could. He was kicked out on the streets about 15 because we couldn't have a functioning life with him in the house. It got to the point where it was too much. We couldn't afford it. We were losing all of our possessions, everything. We just couldn't handle it anymore. He started smoking pot when he was in junior high. Just simple pot. Everyone thinks, oh, I'm just going to smoke pot, get high this weekend. It's not a big deal. It is a big deal. He moved directly into OxyContin, and now he's not here anymore. He told us before he passed away that he was the first in his group to try oxys, is what they call him, so that's what I refer to him, because that's what he always called them, is oxys. He influenced quite a few people to try them also, unfortunately, and a few of his friends who are still here, thank the Lord, have been in and out of rehabs. I mean, $30,000 a month rehabs. Parents have mortgaged their homes. It's here, and it's right here in everybody's life. I mean, everybody.
Is that parents who are successful expect their kids to be successful. And in that regard, they would never expect, and you heard earlier tonight when Christy Crandall said that she never, ever believed that it could be her kids until it was too late.
I miss my little brother, and I'm hoping by speaking out today that you guys will get the note and get the message that it's important. It's very, very important. His future was stolen by drugs. He didn't get the opportunity to go play in college football. He'll never get the opportunity to get married or see me get married. He's never going to get the opportunity to help my dad out, help my mom out, because he's gone. He always said, and I'll end on this, if I had only known how hard it was going to be to get off these drugs, I would have never taken him in the first place. I don't want him to die in vain. Please listen to me. I want to honor him by speaking out and just letting everybody know that it will happen, and it can happen immediately to people who have normal families, and it's terrible. So I just leave you with that message. I hope that you just listen to it.
Today, with a society that is increasingly medicated, with everything from prescription medications for pain to psych medications, there's a tremendous availability to drugs. And with that availability, the kids are getting more and more into it. And it is more from, again, marijuana and alcohol to serious narcotics, OxyContin, for instance.
Crying is out of frustration because I'm scared that the parents aren't going to leave here truly understanding what a problem this is. OxyContin is my son's drug of choice. It's a huge, huge problem in Rockland. I know at least 15 adolescents addicted to OxyContin right now. Most of them have been through rehab. I don't know one, not one, who has beat the addiction. My son hasn't even beat the addiction. He struggles with it every single day. And he will be an addict for the rest of his life.
And I think that's what, there's a denial that goes on in our community because we're successful people and we expect our kids to be successful. But the other side of that is our kids have time and they have money and they have some freedom that maybe you wouldn't have in other ways. They have cars to get around. They're allowed to have some technology within their rooms, within their privacy, that maybe you wouldn't have in other situations. So, yeah, I think affluence can lead to be part of the problem.
It seems like such a large number of kids are choosing to go down the path of using drugs or alcohol on a regular basis that it is almost like the social norm. There's, when I was growing up, we would look down on kids that used on a regular basis. But nowadays it's like, you use or you don't, and it's really no big deal.
There's not the stigma of using drugs that there used to be. If you were a drug user, you were a doper, and you hung out with those kind of people back in the 70s, the 60s, and the 70s, and even into the 80s. And then drugs were also seen as the thing that street people did. I mean, you had to be of a different class to be out using drugs. Kids are getting their hands on more effective drugs. Effective, I mean more potent. And it's having bigger impacts in their lives.
Why are teens turning to prescription drugs? We asked them just that question.
It's not fun to do. Nobody pressures me into it. It's not fun. It just makes you feel better. Can you describe that feeling? Numb, if you take enough?
I don't know. Life, parents, school, not having anything to do, free time, money. Anything could attract you to drugs. It's just whether you choose to use them or not, I guess.
I loved the fact that I didn't have to deal with reality. It's really what it boils down to, I think. I had a lot of problems. I wasn't a straight-A student. I know there's a lot of straight-A students that do drugs, but as far in my case, I like not dealing with reality. I didn't have a good relationship with my parents. I just didn't like dealing with the stress of school, stress of sports. I didn't want to even think about what I was going to do with my life or in the future, but I loved partying, and I loved being in the party atmosphere and the drug and gangster atmosphere. It intrigued me, and I let it take over my life.
My opinion is they believe prescription drugs are safer than illicit drugs, and it's not the case. The reason they're prescription drugs is because they are dangerous.